Welcome to Really No Really. You haven't liked and subscribed yet? Really? Do it, or the puppets get angry. Now here's Jason Alexander and Peter Tilden.
Today we're gonna talk about customer service, the field of customer service, which by anyone's estimation, including surveys and statistics, is getting worse and worse and worse and worse.
We hate it.
Our
People
experience
hate it.
of customer service, no matter where. And I came across a story that I shared with Peter about a woman named Lisa Craig, who lives in Colorado, who spent a grand total of 11 days over a 6-month period, 11 full days on hold with the Department of Employment trying to get her unemployment benefits.
Oof.
Really? So imagine 11 days worth of time devoted to getting some human being to go, you didn't pay me what I'm owed. It should be something that takes 5 minutes. Here's my social security number. Here's my proof of employment. Here's the date of my termination. I'm on unemployment. Send me the check. It's just.
And then what begs the bigger question is, and that's why we got an expert on. If we know it and the companies have to know it,
Sure.
either they know it and can't fix it, or they know it and don't care about fixing it.
Really? No, really? Really? No, really? Really?
So why are customer service ratings getting worse? Do they not care? Do they know how to fix it? Or is AI around the corner and it's going to solve all our problems? Let's introduce our guest.
All right. Amas Tenumah, a former customer care consultant at IBM and the author of Waiting for Service. He is an author, a keynote speaker, and consultant in consumer experience, technology, and stoicism. I need to find out what the hell that means.
I know what that means. My father, you could live in my house.
A founder of the Better Experience Group. He's one of the world's most highly respected thought leaders anywhere when it comes to customer service. And I understand, without putting words in his mouth, he says the apparent ineptitude in customer care is on purpose.
Actually, welcome to the show, by
our
the way.
show. Nice to see you.
This is a thrill. I am so glad to be here. Good to meet you guys.
Well, thanks.
It is true. I think most of what we experience today is done on purpose, not maliciously, but it's on purpose.
Is it because they don't care? Because in society now, like how many airlines do you have? With the mega mergers, these companies are so big. Where else are you going?
Yeah, that's part of it in less competitive industries, but it's all about the incentives. So if you think when you contact a company, so when people ask me, how do you get better service? Well, tell them you want to buy something. Press 1 for sales, and they answer the phone right away to get a human.
Okay, that's the first trick.
There we go.
And we're out. Thanks for being with us. And we'll move.
Well, because when that call happens, the company gets richer. But when you call for service, I already have your money. Like, I've gotten your money. Every additional cent or dollar I spend talking to you, paying people to, just reduces the profit. And as long as that is the economic calculus, then they will bring in people like me, not to, hey, how can you give them good service so that they're not pitchforks in front of the office, right? Like, but don't spend too much. Can you use automation? And that kind of incentive structure is at the heart of
That sucks. That's horrible.
Service.
What's fascinating, and because we've all gone through this and you don't think about it because I didn't know it, is it true that the first person you get to, the first level you get to, their whole job is they ain't going to give you anything. They're not qualified to give you anything. They're not trained to give you anything. And as a matter of fact, they're told, don't give them anything. So that if you persevere to the next level, that person may be able to give you something. But in doing this, I went, I'm such an idiot. You know how you have to go to the next person and explain the thing again?
Yeah.
And I always go, why can't they just tell you? My file's right there. That's intentional, right? They tell the story again and again is to wear you down, so you'll hang up.
Yeah, if you think about when you buy a phone, I don't know if they still do this, and there's a rebate. It's 2024, but you got to fill out a form. You've got to mail it in. You put enough friction so when they do their calculation, they go, all right, we're going to give 1,000 people this rebate. Only 700 of them will claim it, but we still claim that. It's the same in customer service. It's not as bad as they don't have any authority, but these are assembly lines. So you don't give 1,000 customer service agents credit ability to issue $100 credit. You make it a little bit difficult so that a subset of customers will go, you know what, I'm not doing this again. I will quit, which impacts the bottom line. And I think this goes back to what I said in the beginning. It's not so much malice, it's just profitable. It really is. It's just the profit motive that's at
But
the
wouldn't
bottom.
I know in prepping for this, I saw a lot about how to build customer loyalty. Isn't there a greater, I rang my own bell. Isn't there a greater long-range profitability from having a customer service experience that is gratifying for the customer rather than, save? It seems like tripping over dollars to pick up dimes.
Right. You are absolutely correct, and there's data that validates that point. The problem is the average length of a CEO is less than 2 years. So the difference between spending money on customer service versus, say, marketing, if I give customer service $1, in 5 years I get 10. If I give marketing $1, next quarter I get 2. Well, I won't be here in 5 years. So, so you're correct. The math, the data is on the side of, I've got that on my side, but in the age of short-termism, we're fighting a really, really tough battle.
Oh my!
Well, the other thing,
God.
okay, as I'm seeing
That's
this too.
amazing.
The other part of this is, and I have the list of the companies that do it well, that have trained people, and they all feel part of it, and they feel included, and they get paid. I work for a company that shall remain nameless, and what I love about this, and Laurie's going to be laughing, you probably hear her through the walls. They used to have meetings, company meetings, where the chairman of the company would go, everybody, you can be part of this, we can grow it, we can together we will be and meanwhile, 60% of the people there are dollar employed wages. They get paid. They're told not to work 40 hours or overtime. They have they have no insurance. They have no nothing.
But we're a team.
But we're a team. Yeah. So the incentive is and all of those meetings, they walk out of this meeting here in the hallway. So these companies, the ones that are good, yes, have employees that are treated well. But most of these companies are using call centers, part-time, whatever it is, and they don't care if the person feels fulfilled at their job. They just need volume, correct?
You're correct. I often say to people when I talk about this that if you think companies treat customers badly, wait till you hear how they treat their customer service employees. So the most popular job in customer service is a call center agent. There's a quote I use in my book. I didn't write it. He writes, federal prisoners have more freedom than call center agents. And he is not that wrong because you're tethered to a headset. They track how many minutes you spend going to the bathroom. I am not kidding, by the way. You have to read the script. You sound like you're in a hostage video. Thank you for calling. They take all the humanity out. The pay is low, and it's because if you think about the evolution of the worker, it's been about cost. In the 90s, let's ship this to India. And then the Philippines, cheaper and cheaper. And then press 1, press 2 automation. Now it's AI. Companies have been waiting to get rid of how do I lower this cost. Now, there are good ways. I am a technologist. There are good ways to do technology, but let's make no mistakes about it. The treatment of those employees, so those employees have no autonomy, they're all reading scripts. The only exceptions, I'm sure you found in your research, one thing they usually have in common, it's a founder, a CEO who believes he founded the company and he's like, we are going to treat people well and we're going to make customer service our thing. If you don't have that, there are very few examples where they do it well because they just look at the math and go, yeah, short term, let's cut costs and we'll worry about it.
Well, yeah, you gave an example, I think, it was wonderful. And I forget the company, you'll know, where a woman complained all the time, kept complaining, whatever. Yep. And he reached out there, the head of the company, and said, see you later, basically, because he trusts his people more than he trusted this caller. So, because he knows how the people are trained. But how many companies, if you had to guess, across, even globally, how many companies have a founder where that's important and they have their marketing departments tied to their customer service
even a
department?
Percentage of companies, yeah.
I don't think I know 10, right? globally, and if it's more than 10, they're usually small companies. Like there's a Thai restaurant by my house here in Oklahoma City. They do a phenomenal job, great customer. But at scale, and all of them, whether it's Zappos, the story you just told is of Southwest Airline of the great Herb Kelleher. The Herb is now passed away, and you've heard the Southwest story. Southwest has changed,
Yeah.
right? And they're not the same company because once that's I always ask people this: how many CEOs came from customer service in the Fortune 500? That gives you an indication. When I used to run a large customer service deal for consumer packaged goods, and I was no higher than I was a VP at a big office, but I was a trash collector. I was the guy, like it's customer service. How do we reduce that cost as low as possible? Marketing and sales, that's the shiny object, even though long term, that's where all the loyalty is, and that's where it is. So that's where we are. But the consumer is also part of this, and I hope we get there because we, the consumers, are a part of the problem too.
We just did a show about that, about expectations and crowd control, why people are acting out. Everybody's a VIP. Everybody now demands, and with Yelp reviews and stuff, we have become much more demanding. So I can assume when you get a call and you're in a customer service center, I'm entitled to something more than you're giving me. So there's a whole different aspect, right?
Yeah, when the customer calls up and opens with, "All right, asshole," that's probably it's probably going to go south pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, every call center has a policy for how do you deal with profanity. I mean, this is how often it happens. You're correct, but I want to say the companies are a part of the problem as well, setting those expectations. I remember when I was running customer service, so we were in a flower business out in LA at a wonderful company. And there was a day we had a bad Mother's Day. We canceled a bunch of florists. My counterpart, the VP of marketing, put out a tweet and says, "Hey, we have a sale this week. Come buy more flowers." And I'm calling her going, "What are you doing?" Like, I can't deliver the ones that people have already placed.
Right.
And so there is this expectations. But on the other hand, I think the general public, especially us, we do that. Even where there are choices, it always surprises me the choices people make. I'll pick on Spirit Airlines because they're an easy target. Spirit Airlines at Christmas, they sent us a 6-year-old unaccompanied minor to the wrong city. They shipped them off to the wrong city, right? Here's the thing about Spirit Airline customers. Loyal. They know about Spirit Airlines. Same thing with Walmart customers. There's websites saying Walmart is horrible. They complain from Walmart inside of Walmart. So there's a little bit of this dissonance where maybe we're lazy, we don't want to switch, where we know pain is coming and we just...
Doesn't matter.
We sign up anyway.
To give you examples of companies who get this right, think about USAA is an example, right? When their customers, which happen to be military members, when they are deployed, without asking, they send their premiums back. But yet, the 99% of companies will send you a survey, right? Jason, Alexander, how did your experience go? As though you weren't there. Like, they were there. They saw the whole thing. They got all the data. But it's the whole, Mrs. Lincoln, how did you enjoy the play? And then they get more data, but then you get more frustrated because nothing changes. The best sign of great customer service is not because the customers tell them to do it. It's because innately that founder or that owner knows in his heart, I'm going to own this business for the next 50 years. I'm going to build customer loyalty, and we are going to do this right. We'll give up a little today because good customer service is expensive.
Is that the first place they always look to cut?
Yes, because, and this is some of my trauma of competing for dollars with marketing, but marketing people will say, I'm sure you've talked to them, they'll go, I spend $1, I'm sure 50 cents of it is wasted, but I can't tell you which 50 cents, so you got to keep giving me $1. So you're not going to cut marketing. You're not going to cut sales, right? Because you got to do the deal. And so what you go to is you go into operations. Can we make the package thinner? And eventually you get to service. I was in a meeting with the CFO once, And he asked me, what will happen, Amas, if we stopped answering their phones at 4 p.m.? And I'm looking at him going I thought it was a rhetorical. I'm laughing, and he goes, how much would we save? And me and my team spent the rest of the night modeling it out and doing the pros and cons. And I'm going, what is going on here? And so it's because while customers scream bloody murder, customer service is a game of defense. You're not playing offense. Customer service is not the reason. It's like the trash collector. You don't move into a neighborhood because they've got good trash service. But when that goes wrong, that's the reason you're going to be out of there and you move. And so in a world where we are in a short-termism, give it to me now, it gets very hard. And this is why technology becomes the star of the show. Because instead of hiring people and I could slap technology on this thing, and maybe I can.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah.
Okay, so the question becomes then: Are they? They may be right financially, internally. Are they right? Is there a future for technology and AI that will improve the customer's experience of customer service?
Oh, for sure. Despite all I've just said, I am an optimist about this. But we're going to spend some time in the wilderness first. So let me tell you how I see it. We had technology in the 90s and 2000s, the phone automated systems, and we blew it. It started nicely. You had your ATM. You can go in and make a withdrawal of $20. And I would argue the standard I say is automation needs to be superior than the human. And the proof is when you go to the bank, if there's a teller and there's an ATM and all you needed was $20, you choose the teller every time because it's better. It's faster. It's easier. It's better than the human. But if you want to make a withdrawal, but then they added, you want to make a withdrawal at the ATM, they did the same thing with the press 1, press 2, and the tree got all crazy. We're doing the same thing again with AI, but I think we have a chance to get it right. And the way I think we get it right is instead of how do I just eliminate talking to you altogether, what I advise company is use that assistant, that AI assistant, to help the human get it done faster and more efficiently. So what should be a 10-minute phone call could be 5 because I'm not looking around. You should see the systems, these agents, this customer service agency. So if we use AI to make that job smarter, yes, there's plenty of opportunities and things we can automate and eliminate the human. But how about we focus on making that job less miserable and pour in the technology there? Unfortunately, we're not doing that yet, but that's the path.
But what is that? Okay, so you confused me because I don't know what that looks like. And so you, I think in reading, you said that an interaction with a human being in a customer service is complicated. It's not really easy to automate and put a chatbot in. It's going to know the nuances, the substance, sense anger, sense whatever, and know where to go. It's very complicated. So if I have something that's AI that's helping me and I'm sitting there in the service, what is it doing for me and informing me to help me get this thing done correctly, better, more informed? It's like having a boss standing over your shoulder going, no, Harold, you're getting mad.
No, it's having the smartest administrative assistant. So it's listening in on the conversation. So it's saying, hey, you said you wanted this. And then it's going, I've got the answer. I went in and I searched the database. Here's the answer. Say this to them and answer the question. And then the human can go, no, let me tweak it better. Hey, the customer says I wanted credit. I've already gone through all those 10 systems. I've issued the credit. Here you go. Push this button. Off you go. And so the human doesn't need to read the script anymore. They can relax. They can just have this kind of more
give them the info. Got it.
React. But it can also detect emotion. So the systems are good enough now to detect, hey, this customer is escalated. It's listening. It's getting to a point where it's that smart. The challenge is putting that machine directly in front of the customer. We've got some work and some tweaking to do. I'd like to see us more put it as the person assisting you to make that.
All right, I think I just came up with it. And you, if you steal this, we'll hunt you down. You can be a partner. I just thought of this. You ready for this?
Wow, look at this.
So listen.
I'll hunt you down.
Listen to this. I'm coming up with this idea. Listen,
it's a good one.
Because you'll hear what this idea. He's going to go. This is genius.
First of all, you're not working.
He's going to
customer service. That's for sure.
Oh, I get him off the phone quick. No, he's going to say this is genius. And he's going to know. And you're going to know.
Okay.
that this is genius. So
Oh, you've teed this
Let me
up.
take you guys. Didn't I tee this up big?
Yeah.
Go with me on this. Not jokey.
Oh, now I have to
Wait,
go
I know
with
the
you.
jokey face. Jokey face gone. So I call a customer service hotline, and I'm already teed up because there's a problem.
Yep.
It gives you a choice. Would you like this resolved by George Costanza? Would you like it resolved by, and we have celebrity customer service AI that will resolve your problem.
You have
in the,
so many problems right now. Can I just tell you what your problem is? So first of all, if I have to record
No, it's AI.
like the
It's not-
American,
no, it's AI.
All right, that's problem number 2.
Why?
So you've gone around me.
No,
and
with-
I've somehow granted you
No, no, no,
permission
you're making
to
passive-
AI me
the
and
character.
use my proceed.
Oh, I don't- excuse me. I don't have to
excuse
talk to
me-
you. I
No,
just-
excuse me.
No, I have to.
No,
just-
excuse me.
See, and this is what you're getting. How much fun would that be?
You're not using George Costanza.
You know who said
Take
yes?
that off
I already
your,
talked to Larry
you-
and Jerry.
Yeah.
And they're making money every time
Yeah.
they answer the phone.
If you can get Larry and Jerry, you get Larry and
Wait,
Jerry.
wait. So-
You're not getting George Costanza.
So hold on a
You
second.
haven't got George Costanza
Would you
money,
not
buddy.
love to? Wouldn't you? It would completely alleviate the tension. You feel
Oh, yeah.
participatory.
No, nobody who talks
You can
to
do Jay
Costanza is
Leno. You
having
could
a
do
bad
like
time.
it's all of those
Sure.
greeting cards. William Shatner.
The minute you- when you
who
get
do you
to
want to
Dolly
argue with?
Parton,
Mr. Shatner.
now you can
I want my
start.
refund, Mr. Shatner.
Dolly Parton
Let
would
me
just
tell
go,
you
"Hi,
something.
y'all."
Howard Shatner. I'll tell you something. You're not getting your refund.
You-
You're not- I mean, would that? It's entertaining.
You're onto something.
I know I'm onto something.
And George Costanza only has
Amas,
to give me
you don't have to
a
do this. for
sample,
him. Yeah.
a sample of the voice.
Sure.
And then AI can take it from there.
Oh.
Yeah, I
100%.
don't want that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
You're gonna-
I don't
You're
want.
gonna be making $30,000 an hour.
How am
When
I
can I
making
start?
it?
When can I start?
How am I making it?
don't know. I made that up.
I get
They're
bypassed.
making
AI
money. They're making money.
bypasses me. I just went on strike to avoid this exact situation.
And I bet after, if Fran Drescher's listening, Fran, you may have missed an area. But that would work. But joking aside, that would work, right? Because
Yes,
it's giving people another level
well,
of something.
If,
That's
if
all.
to the idea of making the experience at least somewhat engaging and entertaining.
So Abe
is a
Lincoln.
really good
Do that, people. Abe Lincoln.
Abe Lincoln.
Andrew Jackson. You know who I argued today? Son
It's
of a
going to
bitch.
take
Andrew
4 and 7 years to get you satisfied.
Andrew Jackson's not giving my money, my Venmo money back. Son of a- But look at his face. It's not a stupid idea, right? Tell me.
Hey, I think you were onto something.
Thank you.
Especially depending on your industry. I mean, bring a little levity to it. And
Sure.
Not so serious.
Yeah.
Well, because people address it already, you're coming to the thing with a problem. So how many companies now? My neighbor sent money erroneously to a place and wants it back. I tried to help him. There is no telephone number. There is no office building. This company they're a huge company. They don't exist. How many companies now will not let you even call them or talk to them?
Yeah, it's a growing number. Maybe the most popular one that recently did it was Frontier Airlines. They just said no phone numbers. You can't call us. Period. End of story. You've got to use email.
Is there a way around that you know?
There is. So there's.
I promised my neighbor.
There's always a way. One of the disadvantages of doing this job, my 80-year-old neighbor, every time she's got a little customer service inconvenience, she's knocking on my door, help me. So when I tell people how do we change things, and there are a few pressure points. Number one, vote with your wallet, but people are too lazy to do that. But number two, when you have this kind of issue, the person who cares are the executives. So, and there are websites dedicated to this. You find the CEO and the whole C-suite. In fact, you go on there, you just copy and paste, particularly if it's a big enough company. You shoot them an email, and you tell them what your issue is. And you know what that CEO does, because it's done to me? He or she doesn't even read it. They hit forward, and they say, make this go away. And then all of a sudden, they're calling my neighbor Pat, and Pat's like, you're not going to believe this. All the things that they said were impossible because all the CEO does not want to get that email. And then social media, but that's waning. A lot of people are using that now, but contacting that. And it does impact change because once the CEO gets 20, 30 emails, he goes to whoever is the over that department, the CEO, whatever, and say, hey, listen, something's going wrong with customer service. And whatever that thing is will get funded because at least in the short term, it's creating a personal enough pain and they will prioritize whatever that thing is, bring the line back. So companies who have turned off their phone lines, the examples where they've had to bring it back because what they learn is Imagine having a conversation about the content of your luggage that was lost and doing that via email and chat, where you're arguing over, there was this toothpaste and my pants and this size, there was a Prada deal, and those things will get, so the agents internally end up calling because they're going, we are 1,000 emails in, we're getting nowhere, let's get on the phone and let's resolve this. Right. But it's a cost. So if you think about, I know I keep saying this, the cost, the most expensive channel is when I talk to you in person, then when I talk to you over the phone. Then the cheapest channels is what they, chatbots, there's no human, press 1, press 2.
Oh, by the way,
so
those chats, anytime I do any of those chats, it never understands, and I hope that I'm fairly articulate. I'm careful what I type in. It says, if you'd like to talk to us now, and I put in exactly what I want. My headphones don't work, and then it answers back something completely irrelevant to what I type. Does the chat also know to wear me down? Is that also programmed to say make them go away?
The chat is actually going, it's Tilden again.
So, unbelievable. Now, to tell you the truth, Amazon does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I actually ordered something, I swear to God, the other day, and I hung up the phone, and an hour later, the doors knocked, and it was the item, and I went, okay, now we're into black magic, or something's going on here.
Let me tell you something, with Amazon, it could be the hour before you made the call. It shows
they anticipate, but they're so over the top about it that if you don't like it, don't wrap it up. It's dirty, it's folded up, you fell in it, just hand it to the UPS guy and he'll figure it out. It's like they've gone so far the other way that it makes everybody else look bad. But seriously, the chat, I've never had one of those where no matter how articulate you try and be, and how well you try and condense what the issue is, it never did. And then it always gives you the dumb, did I answer the question? No.
Well, the chatbots, I have to say, if I'm ever recorded talking to a chatbot, you get my attitude. The minute I know I'm with a chatbot, it's like, do you have are you calling about this? No.
Did you ever type in your issue? You ever type in your issue? It's as if, why did I bother?
You will like this. So the good news is with Gen AI chatbots, the chatbots were getting smarter, so they can converse in English, what have you. I'll tell you a story. So Air Canada, a customer goes on there, is chatting with the chatbot. The chatbot made up a credit policy and then promised to issue them over $1,000 worth of credit that they did not deserve. So guy gets the credit and the company comes back and says, oh, the chatbot made a mistake, we'll move on. He takes them to small claims court, wins. And the judge says, you have to honor the request. The bot is your employee. You got to give him.
It makes sense.
So there's a bot, also there's a Chevy bot. There was recommending, the guy's asking him what's the best car. He says Ford. Go ahead and buy the Ford. The Ford's the best deal. So I'm sharing that to tell you the next generation of chatbots that we're building are actually too smart. And now my whole industry is working about how do you, so they have access is now you have to control this thing. It's like a toddler and say, hey, don't go there. Don't issue this. Don't make things up. And we call it guardrails. So I'm telling you, chatbots are getting better, but I'm worried a lot of companies will pull them after this lawsuit because they're scared.
Liability.
This thing going out.
Oh, I love
that. Well, the chatbots are like the ending of The Producers. When they're going to do another Broadway musical, they're selling to the prisoners. They go, congratulations, you now own 50% of Prisoners of Love. Congratulations, you now own 100% of Prisoners of Love. Congratulations, you now own 25%.
It's just randomly giving people stuff.
And now there's going to be lawsuits going, I own, hey, hang on.
Your chatbot's going to go, why even bothering here? I would buy the competitive brand. I mean, The chatbot, they went rogue. Wow. So the industry's still got a long way to go.
Oh my God.
We do. Yeah, it is now we now have a powerful chatbot that's much smarter than the ones you're used to. Now it's how do we put enough guardrails so it doesn't go nuts and do.
And by the way, you're right. I forgot that I did that. One thing had me so upset that I did right. I looked up the vice president in charge of whatever that division was, wrote him a pretty articulate thing, and got back a thing from him, and then had somebody actually call me. I guess they figure, well, this customer's motivated, and they're going to cost us a lot of money, and a lot of emails, and a lot of stuff, and a lot of bad will. It's cheaper to just handle it.
Yep, in like the rest of societies, there's two customer service deals. In the same way as you have the plane, you've got the first class people with the curtains, and then in the back you've got the rest. It's the same thing with customer service. So if you are an unsophisticated customer, you're not going to make it through the hoops or what have you. You get one set of treatment. But all of a sudden, if you are sophisticated enough to figure out my email address, I am a very important person, and you're sending me an email, or you're using, you've got a lot of followers, that unfortunately carries weight. So all of a sudden, all those policies gets thrown out of the way, and now you are worth something in the short term, because you can create trouble for me in the short term if all of a sudden you leak that email to the press. Or
okay, the other question I have for you, Mr. Let's call sales. So I now call
You're
sales.
just loading up your journal.
And they
with
pick up- yes,
you're basically doing a how-to list.
Yes, I am. I'm doing the book. And then we're in business doing you press 1 for historical figure, press 2 for cartoon figure. Popeyes resolved my thing yesterday. So when I get the sales guy, what my experience is, because I've done that also, I go, then these people are never answering. It's sales. And they go, hi, how can I help you? And I go, I have a problem. They say, hold on, I'm going to patch you over. And it's the bad one song that you hear 50 times, and then I got somebody tell me your story. So how do you use sales once you got them?
Yeah, so there's a trick to that.
You say, I got your wife and kids here. If you want to see them again, give me over. What is it?
No. See, I know, for example, they have policies that prevent them from hanging up on me, from going in. And so when I get you on the phone and you're a sales guy, I say to you, hey, I know how this works. You have access to the service system, right? So I need you to go in there and do that. And if he or she balks, I think the kids call it Karen. I go, get me your manager. You are not transferring me. And more often than not, the sales guy makes a calculus, because he's also is on the clock. He's got to sell so many widgets. And if it's easy enough, he gives me my deal and off I go. And if not, he ships me off to a supervisor or a manager. But you're correct. If you just get to sales and let them just ship you over, you're just right back in the same.
And what about get me your manager? Listen, I've told the story 9 times. Just get me to your supervisor already. Will that get you a supervisor who has the authority?
Yes. So the way there's an art to it. So remember, every call is being recorded, and they have a deal, and they have a metric that says, Amas, as a service agent, you have to escalate as few calls as possible. So you want to be on their side. So you come in and if you are belligerent, if you are attacking, let me just say this to your listeners. If you are attacking the service agents, you've already missed the plot. Like, they are just a hostage as you are in this whole situation. So instead you want to go, listen, I know you're doing your job. You are, befriend them. I know you would give me this credit if it was up to you. I get it's not up to you. Can you go get me the manager? So now I've given them the key words, because I know what the scoring is. The scoring says they have to try to de-escalate. So tolerate them. They would say, hey, because someone's listening. Can I do X, Y, and Z? Allow them, listen to them, and say, hey, great job. Thank you for offering. I know you're just doing your job. The policy is the problem. Transfer. And then they'll go. But if you antagonize them and you get them in trouble, they have no incentive to get you to the manager.
Right.
My one experience with an airline was, it was one of those things, flights canceled, and there's 800 people in line, and I get up to the agent. And I always am nice to the person, because it's never, they didn't decide to cancel the plane. It's not your fault. So I go, just as you're helping me, I'm curious, how do you tackle this, looking out in the sea of people that you have? And they go, you know what? You just do you just focus on the next person. You don't look at, oh my God, this is going to be forever. You just deal with the next person. Is there you got to get this guy off the phone in 3.25 minutes? Clock is ticking. Do they have a counter sitting there?
No, there is. And by the way, we've talked about phone service. There's a clock at McDonald's. Got to get the guy out of the drive-thru. Everywhere there's service, there's a clock. The most important metric, if you're a call center agent that is listening, is your average handle time, right? So, and they know it they know how many seconds they can spare. So they're counting that.
What a job.
Oh, I just got so evil. Next time I call, I go, Yeah. Hi.
How's your time holding up? How's your time holding up?
Get a
I have a.
So
I
there's
have a.
shut
I have
up,
a.
click, right. But the poor call center person is looking at the clock ticking, and all they're doing is trying to get you off to get to the next person, and the clock's ticking. What a day!
Correct. So there are tricks. So I used to do that job. That was one of my first jobs in the 90s. So occasionally, those who are listening knows the trick. You got the little headset. You accidentally disconnect that. So okay, here's a short call. So sometimes when your call drops, I get a few short calls in there, mix up for the hour I spent with Jason. So there are ways to make this up because it's an average, right? It does the whole deal. But again, that's a job where they're counting the seconds. When I said there is how much time you get in the bathroom, I wasn't kidding. There's something they call adherence because you've got to have this umbilical cord to your headset. So I need to know you are going to be on the phones from 3 to 3:20, and you can take that break from 3:20 to 3:35. If you take it later or earlier, that screws up the whole thing because we just have just enough humans.
So wait a minute. You don't only have amount of time. You have a window to go number.
If you miss it, it's a bad mark on what we call schedule adherence. Because now I was expecting this many people. You can't go to lunch with your friend.
What's the turnover rate? What's the turnover rate here at customer service?
On average, it's in the 50-something%. So you lose half the. Those are the.
How often?
Per hour?
By the first bathroom break. First bathroom break.
But the bad centers are turning over 200%. So you are.
It's just.
It's just a giant.
So how soon do you predict that AI is going to be smart enough, for a lack of a better term, that it's going to be able to have converse and do it right and help everybody out?
Yeah, I think in the next 24 months, all the easy stuff will be done by what I would call competent AI, right? If your issue is, I need this, very, very simple stuff, I think competent AI, it will all be gone. So an example would be even me just calling in and my airline, for example, and just saying, hey, look, you didn't give me my points from this flight or what have you. Competent AI will take that out. The more complex stuff. So the hope is the companies get their cost savings because we automate. And those are the ones that there's a lot of them. There's a lot of small things. And then we then focus on the employees. So they will get their cost savings. They'll be able to eliminate jobs using this. And then we'll move on to the more complex stuff. But if your issue is complicated, and the best way of figuring that out is it a yes or no answer? If it's complex, humans are safe. Those jobs are
somewhat
safe.
protected. So there you go. Thank you so much for coming on.
Amas Tenumah, if there's going to be a solution, I have a feeling it's coming from you, sir.
Thank you so much. This has been a treat. It's so good.
Just a joy. Thank you for making
Well, that tells
sense
us
out
what your
of this
normal day
mess.
is like. If this was a treat, we know your average day is not so great. But thanks for coming on.
Thank you for
Pleasure.
having me.